Previously on Redbeard's Garage.
Oh, you're on fire! You're on fire! Oh, look at it go. At least it's warm.
I saw that flame right there and I was like, did they start a fire?
Holy crap. Oh yeah!
Just a bit. It was already heavy. Back first. Yep.
I wasted everyone's money, I wasted everyone's everything, and I feel bad.
Well, here's what's left of the 670. She burnt to a crisp. A lot of people, thinks we should have put it out faster. A lot of people thinks it was staged, which that's absolutely insane. There's no point to ruin this much money in parts. I mean, this motor was $700. The torque converter was $400. So there was no reason for us to burn this whatsoever. And if you say it's for views, we only got like 54,000 views on the video. So definitely wasn't worth that. But I wanted to tear this thing apart because it does still have compression. But the only big problem is where you're going to find all the replacement parts. The fan shroud is not on the market anywheres. All the crank seals would probably be easy to find. But there's a ton of little stuff you don't think about that burn on this engine. So we're going to tear it apart, see what the insides look like, and see if it even would be worth salvaging, even if I could get the parts. First off with the coils. So you can see a little bit of moisture inside on these rockers, but you know, this one's been scorched a little bit by the heat, but everything looks decent in there. So we'll take the other valve cover off and see what it looks like. So you can see there's our oil fill right there. See if we can dig it off of the rockers. Oh yeah, that's pretty much melted rubber on top of the rockers. So we'll definitely have to take the rockers off to get this big hunk of plastic out. Spark plug boot. This spark plug got completely burned up pretty much. There's the intake manifold, and the gasket just pretty much burnt up. But of course this is probably still good. I wouldn't see anything wrong with it other than it's fire tempered now. And there's the carb, all toasty. Oil's still good. Well, the exhaust is off. Last time we'll ever see this big hog. Now the governor, arm, and throttle linkage is all removed. Have to get the old shop back out, clean up this mess. Oh yeah. So there's what the valves look like. They got buildup on them just from us riding it. This engine ran really rich. But there's water in that head. Head gasket is still good. Well, not still good to use, but nothing hurt it. And it's got a multi-layer head gasket on these, which is pretty cool to see. Push rods, holy, these things are light. They like weigh nothing, these push rods don't. These push rods are actually hollow, pretty sure, and they weigh nothing. They're super light. So one head's off, one cylinder's full of water, which I would expect this cylinder to be full of water because it had the oil fill cap on it. So that means the water went directly down in there. And I remember it boiling inside there. So it doesn't look like it's rusted anything. You know, I could rehome that. It would be awesome to bring this motor back. The only problem is that plastic works as a heat shroud, and all this metal's so weak and brittle. It's really thin metal. But yeah, I'm gonna pull the other head off, and I'm gonna clean this water out too. This engine was rich for sure. There's so much buildup on the piston, but the cylinder walls don't even look like they're at all rusted from that water. That's weird. And there's no water in the oil either. That looks like straight oil, and it isn't overfilled or anything. So that's real interesting, because I would have thought water would have got down in there and filled up the block as well. That did not happen. Head number 2. That's never a good sign. You see water flowing out the cylinder. That's no good. So we'll let that. That means this one had quite a bit. Oh yeah. Okay, so it wasn't as much as I would have thought. You can see the rust and buildup in this head. It's not bad, but you know, you don't want to really see that when you pull the head off. That's awesome. They're head gaskets. A lot better quality than I would have thought would have been on them. Push rods are all good and dandy. So yeah, you can see how rich this engine was running, which is insane. You wouldn't think from stock. We didn't jet this engine or anything. You wouldn't think that it would have ran that rich to have that much buildup. And I mean, we only had a handful of hours on this engine. It wasn't like we ran it a ton. Oh yeah. This one's a little bit worse than the other one. All right. So we're gonna drain the oil out of this hog. Go ahead and start cracking some side cover bolts. That made a big mess. And there was water in there. That made a huge mess. That sucks. It's a huge, huge mess. Cool. There's our cam. Got some milky residue on it. Okay, so here is the 670 all pulled apart. You can see where the water was in there, low oil sensor, and then the crankshaft, which should be perfectly fine. We're going to keep the crank, keep the pistons and rods. The only problem with doing this, rebuilding this engine, is I have no coils. I have nothing for it. Like, everything burned up, and you really can't find anything for these engines. So that's unfortunate, but we're going to keep the rod and the pistons. So next I'm going to undo those piston caps and pull those out. Governor arm is out. Looks like a golf club. There's one of the rod caps. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, got a little bit of scratches on it, if you can see that. Let's get a little tap. So we got the other rod cap out. Looks a little bit better than the other one actually, but not bad. Not bad at all. Come on, baby. And there we go. 670 piston with a lot of grime around it. This one, not as bad of the grime, but it's still there for sure. And there's the crank. Well, Lonnie, what do you think of the old 670 stripped down?
I'm pretty sure it's still running.
Yeah, it runs right now. We could start it and still drive it.
Where's the pull start on this thing?
So, this engine would have probably still ran, most likely, but the problem was it's finding all the electronics. No one sells anything for 670s, like replacement parts. The fan shroud would have been hard to find. Just the crank seals wouldn't have been. Performance 670 can actually get the crank seals, but what we're going to do is we're going to send, hopefully Performance 670 can balance the crankshaft for like 6,000 RPMs, so it'll run a lot smoother. And we've done talk to Performance 670. They're going to take our heads. They're going to take our crispy heads and they're going to port and polish them and maybe even shave them down a bit. So they're going to build these heads for us. So that's going to be awesome. We'll have some built heads and possibly a balanced crankshaft. That's going to be sweet. So I'm throwing away anything we're probably not going to use. The block's going to get thrown away. I was just making sure there wasn't any other parts I could use off of it, which I do not think so. So everything's burnt so bad. I think it's pretty much trash. Bless its heart.
Brand
So,
new trash can.
yeah, bust the bottom of it. Flywheel is trash.
Garbage.
We're going to...
That thing looks heavy.
It got some pounds to it. We're going to keep this torque converter plate and just rebuild it with a new jack shaft in the rear and new pulleys. I'm going to keep this intake manifold just for the fact I'm going to cut the flanges off of it so I can machine me up a new flange out of probably aluminum to make me some Mikuni adapters. So that'll be a good piece. I'll cut it up in a minute. And everything else is trash. The cam, I don't see any reason to keep this camshaft. Should I keep it? Should I keep it? Should I keep it? Should I keep it? No.
Gone.
Gone. The valve cover, I'm definitely not going to need. I don't think none of those. Hope I'm making a good decision. The golf club style governor. The pistons, I think I should keep just for, a keepsake.
And if they're garbage, it's good wall art.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Wall art on them. The head bolts I shouldn't need. I know normally I should probably keep stuff like this. What do you
That's
think?
what I was thinking.
I should keep.
You go to the store 7,000 times a day for bolts. And you're sitting here throwing them into the garbage can.
Don't you sass mouth me, son. Washers I'll keep. I'm not keeping that. I'll keep that. So it'd be nice to have this workbench. So, of course, you guys seen that the big setup of parts we have for the 670. We're building a one-seater, fully independent buggy for the 670. Right now, if you want to give them a sneak peek, we're tearing apart the new 670. I'm putting billet rods, the roller rockers in it, heavier valve springs, and a cam. I can't remember the duration and stuff of the cam, sorry. But, so this engine never was ran. It was a brand new engine. We're tearing it apart, going to build it up, and then later on we can put those ported heads on it, which are going to make it, hopefully make a huge power difference. But we're all for low-end torque on this motor because we like off-road stuff. So, yeah, so single seat.
Well, it will be single engine also.
Yeah, single engine, single seat buggy will be getting built with fully independent suspension. So be watching out for that. We're going to build another frame.
And you've got that torque converter, right?
Yeah, and then we're going to run the 780 torque converter for a little while, and then we may do a transmission on the 670. We probably will, I'd say. That'd be awesome. Have reverse and 5 or 6 gears. And we're hoping to do sequential, so it's no clutch, so automatic clutch. We'll just shift it. Da, 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 da. But yeah, so stay tuned for that build. It's going to be awesome. And let us know what you think about the burnt 670. I know people's going to gripe that we threw away the block and everything, but
Should have had a funeral for it.
we should have buried it.
Had like candles
Everywhere.
Hey, I do
It
have
catches
candles
on fire
in there.
again.
I've got a whole bunch of lights.
It would spark up, man. Lonnie said it'd catch on fire again. Firing down the garage. Yeah, oil pump would probably be a smart part to keep. So I'll keep this whole side cover. There's the governor.
Stupid. Hate it.
Stupid governor, you're the worst. Hey, why don't we cut this up on the bandsaw?
Do it.
Do it. we have the perfect little flange. Guess what? That's hot. We have the perfect little flange. I don't think I would need to cut, both sides. So that's pretty cool.
Oh my word.
I didn't mean to do it. Good gosh.
What is that made of? Titanium?
Titanium aluminoid, phosphate, steel, iron. So we can finally get this working.
Make sure
Redbeard's Garage is powered by GoPowersports.com. GoPowersports has a huge amount of awesome go-kart and mini bike parts, and when making your purchase, use the Redbeard discount code in the upper right-hand corner of your shopping cart to grab yourself a sweet deal. Hit that subscribe button and make sure the notification bell is on so you'll never miss another episode, and go check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Pinterest to stay up to date with the channel. Guys, always come back to Redbeard's Garage. I'm out.